Hi everyone, I'm Lara from Light Codes by Lara, the Tigress of the Light. And this is a series called Peacock Wisdom, where we discuss how we are moving into the fifth dimension and what is required of us to actually make this transition. If you've never seen this show before, this is where we channel some information from spirit and then channel a light code to help us to integrate and assimilate this information. Light codes are particularly helpful in integrating on all levels of our being, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, on all timelines and dimensions, consciously and unconsciously, subconsciously, super subconscious or super consciously, all levels of the being. Because sometimes when we're trying to understand something that we haven't explored very much, or even if we think we know exactly what something is, we're then blocking information, or we're not able to take it in on the levels that we might actually really like to be able to. So light codes are really good with working through all of our blocks, all of our issues, all of our beliefs, no matter what they are. They're very, very helpful and gentle in helping us. The topic for today is going to be about tuning in, because ultimately we have to go within, deep within ourselves, to be able to continue on this fifth dimensional movement. So the planet is ascending, but we are in an age of purification. You see it all around. Everything's bubbling up. There's so much intensity. Now, humanity has always had to deal with a lot of intensity. That's part of living in this three-dimensional world. But what's different now is that the energies are aligning for this ascension to actually happen. And so if we want to, as an individual and as a collective consciousness, as humanity consciousness, if we want to actually embrace this movement, this change, then we actually do need to be focusing inward and clearing out whatever it is that's getting in our way from actually tuning into our heart. We are able at this very moment to be in the fifth dimension. It's not like it's being created out of nothing, like it doesn't already exist. It absolutely already exists. And we have the ability, each and every single one of us has the ability to tune into this frequency. That's all it is it's a frequency. You're not going to see the physical three-dimensional realm change all that much, other than hopefully if more and more of us, the planet itself is holding more of this fifth dimensional energy, then we are going to be experiencing it through more of a heart-centered experience, because fifth dimension is heart-based. Fifth dimension is heart-based. So how do we experience the fifth dimension right now, right in this moment? By connecting to our heart. That's all it is. But the trouble is that life is really challenging here. It's messy, it's bumpy, it's triggering. But why is that? What is with all these energies? Well, this is the age of purification. We're here now to clear out as much of this as humanly possible so that we can be living more from our heart. The authenticity movement in spirituality has been a very important one. But if we're moving as a culture, as an individual, as a society, as a race, the human race, the collective consciousness, but if we're going to move into the fifth dimensional realm, then we need to do more than just accept our imperfections, let's say. So it's really good to do that. That is absolutely necessary, but we can't just stop there. We have to actually deep dive and examine and let go and release all the things that are preventing us from living from our heart center. Now, a lot of that is programming. A lot of it is stuff that we brought in to work through, that our soul wanted to experience and work through. Some of it is stuff that we picked up along the way, and some of it is stuff that was passed down to us by our ancestors. Now, before we go blaming our ancestors for a whole bunch of stuff, let's remember that we as souls, before we incarnated into this life, chose our families. Yes, you chose your family. You chose your family for a specific reason. For some of us, it might have been that we thought that we were going to go down and fix our family because when we're in our energy bodies and we're not living in the physical realm, I'm sure it looks a lot simpler than it does once we're actually here muddling through it. I mean, it's a great cosmic joke if you think about it. It's really actually quite funny. But we're here now and we're slugging through it all, and we have to find ways to actually be brave and make the commitment to ourselves that we can work through these energies. So I'd like to invite you now. In order to get to our hearts, we need to clear away some of the things that are in the way of getting to our heart. And remember that our heart is our access to our soul. And our soul is the one that has the big, broad perspective. And we want to be able to bring this higher self in and get the ego out of the way. If you'd like to learn more about this, then please go back and watch our first video that's called Soul Hierarchy, where we discuss how it all is supposed to line up in the most amazing, wonderful way. But I would like to invite you to examine your life. Now, it's okay if we look at something and we go, wow, I really thought that was going to be amazing, but I actually don't like that anymore. It's okay to feel that. It's okay to make changes along the way. We don't have to have everything figured out in every second, every moment of every single day. Life is about evolving. The energies are always changing. And what makes us masters of this life is when we are centered and grounded, connected to our heart, and able to ride and surf. So we want to surf the waves that living in this three-dimensional realm gives us, and make it more like a ride, make it more enjoyable. And if we have one door closed, that is universe saying, don't go that direction, actually. That's not for you. Let's try another door instead. And even if we put a ton of effort and a ton of energy and a ton of love into door number one, if that's closing on us, the best possible thing we can do is take a deep breath and say, okay, I thought it was going to be that, but I'm not going to be attached. I'm not going to get super upset about it. I might be upset for a moment. That's totally fine. Honor your emotions. Don't dwell on the emotions. Let it be. Understand it's a blessing in disguise, and move on and see what door number 2 has, or door number 3, or door number 4. And if we're changing this direction, if we have a course correction in our life, there might be some other things that pop up along the way, some minor blocks that could look like big mountains, but they could just be little blocks, and we have to navigate. We have to know in that moment, is that a door closing, or is it just an obstacle that maybe the darkness is throwing in our way? Because we need to know how to navigate all that. We need to see, is this actually a block, or is this darkness trying to deter us? So I'd like to invite you to examine your life really honestly from a grounded, centered space. This is not about judgment. This is not about doing things right or wrong. This is just about tuning in, centering, being very stable, very quiet in all of our bodies, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Just everything calm down, and let's examine our relationships. Now, this is more than just our personal relationships. This is more than our family. Okay, this is the relationship that maybe you have with your home, that maybe you have with your bed, with your city, with your windows, with the weather, with the astrological weather, with what you watch, with your social media. Are you after followers? Why are you after followers? Ask yourself the question, how am I relating to this? And why am I relating to it in that way? And does it feel like it is in the best possible alignment? And then turn inwards and examine. So we've examined all the things in the external world. Now let's turn inward and let's examine what's inside. So starting with, what are we putting in our body? What kind of water are we drinking? Are we drinking tap water that's full of chlorine and God knows what else? Or are we drinking nice spring water? Are we drinking pop full of sugar or aspartame? Or are we drinking clean things like juices, organic juice and such? Are we eating quality foods that's actually going to nourish our body, nourish our cells, nourish our microbiome, which we talked about in the last episode? These are all very important things just to nourish our vessel. Then what is our relationship with these things? What is our relationship with our thoughts? with our beliefs? Are they beneficial beliefs? Are they false beliefs? What are we telling ourselves? What are we consuming ourselves with? What are our activities? And really examine, what is it? What is it about everything that I do in my life, every moment of every day? How is that feeding me? How is that nourishing me? How is that serving me? And if something is not in absolute perfect alignment, then just let it be, let it go. Ask the question, is this something that I should continue to bring into my life or not? Now, ultimately, we are either asking our higher self this question, but for a lot of people, we don't have access to our higher selves. So the next best thing is really our heart, in which we want to be tapping into anyway, because this is our path to the fifth dimension, which is the whole point of this whole series, is getting on this train to go to the fifth dimension. So we need to be living from our heart center. But what if we don't have access to our heart yet? Well, the way that a lot of us even start is just by listening to our gut. When we can't listen to our heart because we have blocks, because we don't know how, whatever the reason is, our guts are the next ones to respond. So if you feel a tightening, a tension build when you think about something, then that's your body, that's your heart trying to tell you, that's not so good, let's not do that. If you feel a lightening in your gut, then that is the heart saying to you, yes, that's the right direction, please go that way. Okay, so we are going to channel a light code with our iPad Pro, and we are going to use a nice purple lilac background and a purple light pen. Okay, there we go. So this light code feels very balanced to me. I really do see and feel the tuning in aspect. So I almost feel like the top part with the dots coming down, that feels almost like a chandelier. It looks like a bit of a chandelier, and it's almost like the energy that's being created within the entirety of the light code is raining back down on the light code. So, and then we see these spirals, and it's almost like the spirals are mirroring one another. So to me, it's like the chakras are all represented here, even with the lines that are almost to the top, that's just below the chandelier, the 3 lines going up. That's almost like the crown chakra. And there's some of that, because the chandelier is off center, it's like some of the energy from the crown chakra is able to come in and out directly, but then you have the chandelier aspect that's raining that energy back down into the system. And it's like with these spirals, they're all interconnected, and it's like they're mirroring one another. So I really see this as the light code is showing us the external world is our mirror. We know that. The external world is our mirror. So if we're getting upset about something that's happening externally, that is a perfect opportunity for us to examine, why am I having a reaction to that? Why is that upsetting to me? Why is that a trigger? What is there for me to neutralize there? And that's what shadow work is for. And belief systems, releasing belief energies. And then I see with the bottom, at the very bottom, that's sort of anchored by a sort of spiral there, but there isn't a lot of weight there. To me, the light code is incredibly balanced. So it's sort of showing me that although we talk a lot about grounding, especially for Western culture, because we're not, generally speaking, very grounded as a culture, we think too much. So we're up in our solar plexus a lot. That's our thinking chakra. We're not in our legs, and we're not really present and grounded with this planet. So there's a lot of talk about grounding because it's incredibly important. But what this is showing us is that once we can move past that, once we just are grounded and we are present in our being, and we are in this good alignment and flow, that there's less need to be focusing on the grounded nature, because we just already are. And then it can be about the whole being just being in total balance, and then reflecting all that's necessary to reflect to clear that, and then to be able to move on. Navigating life is really about watching, witnessing, and then knowing what to do about it. And ultimately, our life gets more pleasant as we are able to get into our heart center and we are bringing in these higher vibrational energies. Not to say that the lower vibration is bad or anything like that. It's just that this is the direction that we're going. So there's a lot of talk about this fifth dimensional energy and this higher frequency range that we're trying to connect with. So we are needing to shed the things that are preventing us from really stepping into our authority, from really stepping into our authentic being. Now, our authentic being is not ego-based. It is not ego-based. It is our higher self. It is our soul. It is our heart. That is our authentic nature. Okay, so that's it for this week. We do personalized light codes if you feel like you would love to have your own light code to support you in your journey. And we also do frequency pictures, which is taking a personalized light code and turning it into a piece of art. Again, very personalized just for you. And then we also offer distance energy healing through fractal line healing, which is a system that I help to develop. It is how I do all of my healing. Light codes can be thrown in. It is a massive, incredible platform. It is so powerful. I'm blown away with it every day, honestly. It's how I literally do everything for myself, and it is absolutely my go-to modality at this stage. It is a location in the quantum field of possibilities, of potentials, and it was born out of the need to be able to bring in all these different energies, all these different frequencies and tools. I needed a place where I could assemble it all, and that's how Fractal Line came about. So it's incredibly powerful, and I'm super excited about it. Don't forget to check out the Little Book of Light Codes if you'd like to learn more about light codes, and check out my website, lightcodesbylara.com, for more information. I hope you have the most amazing, wonderful week. All blessings.